Again, welcome everyone. Good evening. I've thought often about friendship and what it takes to make perfect friendship. And this might be a little hard to hear, but I think that actually we won't have perfect friendship until both people become saints, until both people become Jivan Muktas and have no more ego. And well, okay, but we're striving. That's what we're ultimately striving for here. As I was reading these this evening and preparing for this class, I was thinking, well, that sounds a lot like what Swamiji wrote in Sadhu Beware. And he has a little section in that book called How to Be an Ego Detective. And I was looking at each one of these points and thinking, well, really, if I can do that, it's going to help me become free from ego in this way or that way. And really, that's the ultimate aim of life, is becoming free from ego. A very interesting thing is that we are all striving to get rid of desires, that we know that desire is what is keeping us bound in this world. Desire is giving us lots of troubles, and it has put us into delusion. And we also know that if we try to undo this one desire, then this other one pops up, and we try to undo that one, and this one pops up. And we know that the way out of this mess is to practice Kriya Yoga. But I was listening to Swamiji last night and I just grasped a very interesting thing. And that Swamiji said, rather than trying to get rid of this desire one by one, that ultimately we need to get rid of ego. But the interesting thing was that he said is that ego itself is the entire world, that who you truly are is the entire universe. And in getting rid of ego, in bringing all of our energy right to this point, and then taking that true offering of who we truly are, the entire world, and offering that to God here, that we are getting rid of all of these likes and dislikes, that trying to do it one by one, this desire, that desire. And somehow, I mean, obviously all the spiritual people love to tell you, you are one with the entire world. And we think, oh, really? Oh, okay. But the way that Swamiji said that last night, it just made sense in terms of Kriya. Anyways, I've gotten off track of the topic of friendship, but it was an important revelation for me last night as I was watching Swamiji on YouTube before sleeping. So I wanted to share that. So let's go into these specific ones that I'm supposed to read this evening. And the first one that I'm supposed to do is number 11. Very interestingly, there's two books. There's a book called The Secret of Friendship, or Secrets of Friendship, and then there's Little Secrets of Friendship for Children. And we like the children's one better. So that's what's posted in the chat there. And so number 11 out of the children's one is, make your friends' needs as important as your own. Nobody likes a person who always shoves his way to the front of a line. So the children's ones are fun because Swamiji puts a little example into each one, here being the guy who always shoving his way to the front of the line, because nobody likes that guy, because he's basically saying, well, I'm more important than all of you. And to be a friend, we can't say I'm more important than you, that we have to feel that we are just equally important. Of course, I think the secret to getting rid of ego, to being spiritual, to good friendship, is trying to even make the other person more important, because that even thing, because ego is always there, it's almost weighing the scale always to, well, but really we feel that we're maybe a little bit more important, or we feel that we're way less important and not, worthy. And we're trying to just bring that to even. But in friendship, just in life in general, it's easier just to always be the one who's giving, let the other person go first. Jayaji once said, he gave a rule for monks. Monks shouldn't be the first person to complain. And I've always thought about that. If I'm in a car where it's a little hot or a little cold, and there's four of us, let's say, in the car, that I just kind of sit there and think, okay, well, if it's really out of balance, that somebody else will say something. Or if I am asking for, okay, is the other person, are they feeling okay? Um, yeah, I don't, maybe you've met that guy also who's really thirsty. And so he's offering you water, but all he really wants is to drink it himself. But I still find that it's nicer than just like rushing to the front of the line and grabbing the water for himself. It's nicer to say, are you sure you don't want some water first? No, no, I'm fine. And then he drinks it. I've always thought that's a nice thing. It's better. Oh, another thing that I wanted to just read this evening, and this is from Master's Whispers from Eternity. And Master said, when I'm gone, read this book, that it will secretly whisper to you, that it will talk to you when I'm gone. And so this is just 2 lines from a poem of Master's called Friendship, but these lines have always struck me. And these lines are, in the seeking of soul progress together by 2 who would smooth the way each for the other. Let me read that again. In the seeking of soul progress together by 2 who would smooth the way each for the other. It's just such a beautiful visualization. You imagine 2 people, and one person's just making the way easier for the next person, that person goes over that, and then the other person makes it easy, and you just can visualize 2 people going back and forth, making it easier and smooth for one another. And it's a beautiful visualization for friendship. 2 lines from a poem that I've really deeply enjoyed. The next secret here that I'll read from Swamiji is, encourage enthusiasm in your friends. To discourage them habitually is like killing them one little pinprick at a time. But to encourage them in their good ideas is like giving them doses of healing energy. When I was in the 8th standard, there was this boy who brought a little pin to school, like a sewing needle, and he was just going around poking people. I don't know what he was thinking. Obviously, going through puberty and that age, it's not fun, and no matter, even if people are poking you or not. But I just remember, what planet did I incarnate on? I mean, who does this? Where did this guy come from? How does he think that this is a good idea, or that this is a fun thing to do? But this little visualization is so nice, because obviously that physical pricking people, that's not nice, and people wouldn't like that. But we don't realize with our words, with our little glances or whatever, the subtle things that we do in a friendship, in relationships with each other, that we're either building each other up or we're tearing each other down. And it's there's a saying, many drops do make a sea. And in the spiritual life, every little spiritual effort, that these things, they all slowly add up. We don't see them just one little thing here or there, but as we go day after day and we do the right thing, and we're giving, and we give that loving, kind energy again and again, that in time it all comes back. So the next one is, let others have their say, even if you disagree with them. Once you've heard them out, then tell them kindly but truthfully what you think. The adult one is, respect a friend's right to his own point of view. But in the children's one, which is nice, we're allowed to say our point of view also. And I think that's healthy and good, that probably most of us aren't ready just for a lifetime vow of silence, that we have opinions and we want to share them. Fine, but it's nice to allow the other person to share his opinions first. This is a mark of spirituality. I think we've all met people who, they're so caught up in their own opinions that they can't even have a conversation, that they're just, no, 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 it's like this only. No, listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. Listen, da, da, da. And that other person's not listening. And with a person like that, that actually conversation, communication can't flow back and forth. All of the most spiritual people that I know, they are very good listeners, that they actually, they don't really have their own opinion, that they may be good channels and know what God thinks is the right thing about any given subject, but they won't force that on people. If nobody wants to hear them, they'll just be quiet. If there's an opening there, and in that conversation, if I'm quiet, then that very spiritual person will tell me, but I have to get quiet and listen. In a way, I almost have to ask for it. I have to invite their opinion. And so I want to be like these deeply spiritual people, and means I need to learn how to be a better listener and give when the timing is right, when it is appropriate, when the other person's heart is open. I also find it fascinating that when we speak, we're exhaling air. And you can watch a conversation, but actually just watch how the people are breathing. And that people will, like, then when they're breathing out, but then when they breathe in, they can take in the other person's words as they're breathing in also, or they can breathe in really quickly just so they can get back their words in there again. And that there's actually, if you watch people breathing as they have a communication, as they have a talk, that there's a flow of energy that can go back and forth very smoothly in people's spines if people are aware of this and if they let it. Anyways, probably highly esoteric, but yogis watch other people breathe and watch these kinds of things. And there are subtle things going on in life that are interesting and fun to watch and learn. Okay, the next one, don't mix with people for what you hope to get out of them. Mix with them for themselves. Like them for themselves. Then for kids here, Swamiji writes, nobody wants to hang around with pickpockets. So that's really interesting. So meaning Swami's saying, you don't be a pickpocket. Don't be mixing with a group of people because you think, oh, I'm going to be able to get this from this person and this from this person, this from this person. In high society, which I really don't know, it doesn't mean all that much to me. And I'll say why. High society to me really is a group of saints, not a group of rich people or people who have a lot of political influence. But anyways, there's a word called hobnobbing, and that is where you go to a group who has, if you want money, they have more money than you have, so you go mix with them. Now, of course, we're not going to be actually like a pickpocket, but people are still go just whatever for influence. But now these are all more gross things. We're talking more on a subtle level now. And sometimes I guess it's all right. And now and then I have to give Prem Das his time, but it's all right to be taking good qualities from people. But even in that, we need to be giving back. We always need to be giving back. There has to be that flow of energy. Master once said to a group of disciples, very good, you're stealing lots of magnetism. Very good, very good. But I'm sure those people who were taking that magnetism also had a lot of love in their heart for Master. That type of feeling, Master, I love you, I'll give you anything. And there was a proper flow of energy exchange. It wasn't one way like a pickpocket would be. So yeah, whatever group we're with, we should just respect people for exactly who they are and not what we're going to get out of them. And then to end here, friendship really is, what can we give? What can we give? So I'll hand it over now to Prem Das.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think Jamalji took all the way the friendship to a whole new level. The breathing, observing breathing was so much mind-blowing. Somehow I not even think about that way, and all those things he shared from his experience. Thank you so much. And so I'll just like today, I would ask you all, invite you all. I'll just paste the words of a song, a Swamiji's song. This is again a children's song, maybe also for all of us. I'll tell you. This song is called All the World is My Friend. So I would just request you all, I'll just paste it in the chat, and then I'll request you all to sing along with me. So please sing along. So the song goes like this: all the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. So I'll just request you all, maybe you can turn on videos, and yeah, and maybe I'll open up the, yeah, so if you want to sing along, please unmute yourself. Yeah. So all the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. All the world is my friend when I learn how to share my love, when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above. So maybe we'll just close our eyes for like 10-20 seconds. Just try to remember, chant these words of Swamiji. All the world is my friend. Keep your heart open. When I learn how to share my love, it's in giving we rise and we live and we feel happy. And when I stretch out my hand and smile, when I live from above, having God's presence and sharing His presence is the best way. Okay, thank you all again for joining in this session, adding your time and energy to join us, the monks here, as we do these sessions every Saturday. So I think Swamiji himself has given a really good secret in this song. Yeah, and anyway, I've selected, what are the things I've selected? 8, 9, 10 today. So the first point, the eighth point, for the 8th day, the secret of friendship. I'm reading from the children's book. Accept your friend when you appreciate what your friends say or do. Show them your appreciation. Don't take it for granted that they recognize it. Don't we all feel more friendly towards a dog when it wags its tail? So Swamiji puts it so well. So yeah, we all like a dog when it wags its tail. We are happy to give it energy. Yeah, if it's so. I'm remembering of this incident which Swamiji shares in this video. I'm going to paraphrase it. So what happens in this incident is Swamiji, I think a host called out to Swamiji to perform some songs for them. So Swamiji goes there So on that day, he just goes, everybody are there are few people, the host is there, and then he tries to sing. He sings one song, and people are doing their own little things. They're paying little heed, but still they're doing their own things. And again, he sings one more, thinking they might want it. And then I think they also request him for one more, and then he sings. And then he just thinks, okay, people have their own tastes. So maybe they don't like these songs. So and then the next day he's riding with the host in the car. Then he asked that person who had hosted him yesterday, how did you like the songs? He said, yeah, it was good. And then after some time he realizes, he says, this host says that each day while going to work, I play your songs. Okay, so now Swamiji's mind was like, what? So you, unless you like the songs, you would not play that songs to the work daily. So why did you not just tell to others? Like, it makes more sense. Why don't we just sometimes appreciate the beauty in others? And it somehow, in many ways, it's good because we are also coming out of our ego in one way, if you look at in that way of sense. But also at the same time, it's just a more beautiful place when you can see beauty in others, and they also get to know that it's being appreciated. It takes a long way. So I think being appreciated in any workplace or your colleagues sometimes is, whenever it's needed, please do it, and you'll see the magic of it. So I'll go on to the next point now. The point 9, accept your friends as they are, and they will accept you as you are. If you think friendship should be perfect, look at yourself sometime in the mirror. Are you perfect? By accepting what is, we all grow together towards what ought to be. So, yeah, I think we all have faced this situation where we are the ones giving the suggestions for everyone else because we know what's the right thing to do, and somehow when other people make us give us any suggestions, we are a little hesitant to take them. So those things happen during our spiritual path progress, but I think as we start growing, then we start listening, like Jamalji was saying, maybe start listening, and then like Swamiji mentioned in this, children, give them some advice. So few things that came to my mind while looking at this particular point, what inspired me was, first of all, we have to become perfect. So how do we grow towards perfection and everything? So we take small steps, slow, daily, day by day. And by here, the main thing is awareness precedes control. This is one more principle that came to my mind while reading this. For example, there are days in my life where I'm not feeling all the more energetic to take on some projects or start telling on to take on direction. Sometimes it's when you start becoming aware. I've started becoming aware of that, and whenever I became aware, that is the day. All I need to do is, maybe like if I don't feel for doing the entire energization, start doing one or two, and then you all would have realized after you do one or two, you start, some of the energy starts generating and you can do more. And maybe the day is like, all I have to do is like put my clothes in the washing machine to wake myself up, or take the cycle to a repair shop, or on a physical plane. Fixing things on a physical plane somehow is much more realistic than compared to thinking of some ideas for a project or something. So that's one of the suggestions. Yeah, that has worked for me. So if you think, so whatever you can do on small things on physical plane to make, then the energy starts flowing, and then you can start improving things on different levels. So maybe some days are just like that, so you have to work on that way, but you know the next day the wave will rise and you'll be able to do much more. But today, if you can just hold the fort and do your best, I think master and everyone are there with us. Yeah, sometimes we have to be aware of our realities. So when we become aware of our own realities, I think yeah. So also one more tip or example I can give of is, sometimes, yeah, this happened in my old office, I think. This person was walking by. I already felt something negative happening. Even before, there was nothing happening before. But when we sat, there was this big argument that happened. But now as I see back, so even many times when there is a big argument or something negativity flowing around, once you become aware that there is something negative in the surroundings, some of that day, keep it more light. It's worth it. Maybe that day, maybe it's more worth it to not even worry about what the progress in the work so much, and more it's more about keeping the joy level and harmony more important. So becoming aware of the situation at hand, like what is happening. This is like one in a 90 days or 100-day scenario I'm telling, when you can already feel there is something wrong between two people, and then that day try to keep it, maybe avoid conversations too much, or yeah, you'll start becoming aware of, whenever as we grow on the spiritual path, we'll try to become aware of many more things. I think awareness is such an important gift we get, so we can just try to make things better and whatever God wills. So that will be very helpful. Okay, so now now the next point is, don't give your, I really love this. Yeah, don't give your bad moods to others. That's like giving them a wormy apple to eat. Who would want to give a wormy apple? Recently, I had to give back my apples because they was not looking good, and that fellow somehow accepted and gave back good apples. So I'm going to keep going back to his shop in the same way. So why would we want our friends to have a wormy apple? So I think Swamiji puts it right there, that why would we want to do it? So one more tip, whenever I get into bad moods or something, I try to like maybe sleep it off sometimes if it's so bad, or maybe try to keep it more light, or maybe listen to more uplifting music and try to at least do something better, or try to bring God into the life, try to go for a visit to temple or go for a walk. Or I think you also would have discovered some tips like this which would really help you whenever you get into bad moods, and maybe not have any much conversation that day too much, or maybe decision making or something. So I think Swamiji puts it so well. Don't don't give a wormy apple to your friends. It's not good. Okay, I think I'll be requesting Jamalji to now maybe share some one more or 2 more minutes and close the session now. So yeah.
Sure. Thanks, Primdas. That was a lot of fun. You know, as I just close here, I'll say that many people who knew Swamiji, they felt like he was their best friend. I know so many people who feel that way, and it wasn't really because, I don't know, that he gave us all candy bars or something like that. It was a feeling that you got in his presence, a feeling that he really, really cared about you. I've said this in other contexts, but when my brother passed away, hundreds of people said to me, "Oh, I'm so sorry." When Swamiji said, "Oh, I'm so sorry," it was the exact same words, but somehow I felt like God himself was saying, "Jamal, I'm sorry I had to make the creation like this, where there's Maya and it appears that you're separate from your brother, but don't worry, life is eternal, life goes on, and in the end, everything's okay." It had that bhav behind it, as Swamiji said those words. And because I believe that Swamiji was enlightened, that he just gave that feeling that everything was okay and that you were really loved. And it was a strange thing because you knew it was coming from him, but at the same time, there also was some impersonality about it, as I was joking about with the candy bars, that it wasn't a personal, "Oh, Jamal, I love you for being Jamal." It was, there's God in me and there's God in you. And in that, there is perfection. And these were all feelings. None of this was ever communicated outwardly. It was just simply how it felt. So I urge all of us to find that God within ourselves and to give love and respect to the God in others and to perfect our friendships, because in that we are perfecting our ability to channel God and to become God.